last episode, King Arthur took over most of Europe and Scandinavia, then held a plenary court in the city of Legions in Glamorganshire to make all of his tyrannical warlording legally acknowledged. Now it's time for some courtly pomp! The grand city of Legions tweren't no joke. It had not one, but 2 churches. So it's less impressive than every southeastern yokel city block in the United States, but pretty impressive by European Christian standards at the time, I guess. One of the churches was built in honor of the martyr Julius, and had a choir of super hot virgins who could never be tagged. Women in this time period are still just fluff property, but I guess it's sometimes like sacred and hot when they can't be tagged and they're singing for you? I don't know, I don't understand humans. But anyways, the area was pretty, nice meadow, nice river, there was a college for astronomer boys and whatnot, and every structure had architecture that rivaled Rome, which, as the book states, is pretty much the highest praise one can give because Rome at this point in time was the trendsetter. So like I said before, the city of Legions is as close to Camelot as we get in this series. And the whole city made ready for the feast to anoint Arthur and Guinevere as the baddest bitches of Europe. Many prominent folk came, because they had to. Have a list! Tons of rich assholes came, and it was so grand that Geoffrey of Monmouth's mind broke, because he could not convey the sheer awesomeness of it all, even though he was the one copying names out of Welsh chronicles in order to fill the guest list. And the book states, there was nothing remarkable in this, for Arthur's generosity was known throughout the whole world, and this made all men love him. Love. Yeah, okay. We'll go with love. Fear, yo! So now that these effers finally showed up, it's time to eat. Arthur and Gwyn get into their casual crowns and then go to eat in separate areas. Because Britain at this point is still doing things the Trojan-Brojan way, which means that men and women don't interact or eat together, unless they're bumping uglies. I don't know if they can eat while they do that. Well, anyway, when everyone was seated by rank, 𝗕_𝗁, which is fancy talk for little bitches, robed in ermine and assisted by 1,000 noblemen, came in from one side of the hall and brought in the grub. And 𝗵𝗿𝗃, the cupbearer, clad in minever? Oh, okay. With 1,000 dudes brought in the beverages from the opposite side. This is, perhaps, the most elaborate DoorDash in all of human almost history. Meanwhile, the queen just had some servants in liveries bringing in so I guess they got the fast food treatment. Geoffrey then goes on to state that Britain is like super rich at this point, and everything is all fabulous and everyone is decked out in the best swagger. Everything's just awesome, and it can't even describe it because that would require him to be a talented storyteller. Also, this totally isn't on account of Arthur invading and stealing from other countries. Nope, God just really likes Britain. They're just blessed is all.
Wow, I'm blessed!
So, since everybody was blitzed out of their minds, they decided that now was a good time to hold a tournament in the meadow. The knights start lovingly stomping the mess out of each other and are motivated by all of the hot drunk chicks who are flirting with them. It's a good time. Geoffrey intercedes to make the statement that the women of this time period only put out for the strongest and most prolific knights. So he's pretty much borrowing from the 12th century Anglo-Norman concept of chivalry and courtly love, which is not a concept yet in the 5th century, but whatever, sounds cool. I can see why some folks still look to Geoffrey for their historical cues on King Arthur's origins. Non-knights shot bows and arrows, or threw lances, and those who weren't particularly skilled in anything just threw freaking rocks. And the smarter folk, they threw dice and scammed the idiots. King Arthur personally awarded the winners of these games, and the next 3 to 4 days went on in this way until Arthur decided to award folk like 𝗕𝗵𝘁 for their services, sea murders, with cities, titles, and retirement plans and whatnot. While King Arthur was distributing out the gubbins, 12 well-dressed dudes, who were in no way associated with the apostles or the zodiac, show up, and they have a less than savory message to convey to the king. Uh-oh, trouble in paradise! The message reads as follows. Lucius, procurator of the Republic, wishes that Arthur, King of Britain, may receive such treatment as he has deserved. I am amazed at the insolent way in which you continue your tyrannical behavior. Not like Rome, am I right? I am even more amazed at the damage which you have done to Rome. When I think about it, I am outraged that you should have so far forgotten yourself as not to realize this and not to appreciate immediately what it means that, by your criminal behavior, you should have insulted the Senate. to which the entire world owes submission, as you very well know. You have had the presumption to disobey this mighty empire by holding back the tribute of Britain, which tribute the Senate has ordered you to pay, seeing that Julius Caesar and other men of high place in the Roman state had received it for many years. You have torn Gaul away from that empire. You have seized the province of the Allobroges, and you have laid hands on all the islands of the ocean, the kings of which paid tribute to my ancestors from the first moment when the might of Rome prevailed in those regions. As a result, the Senate has decreed that punishment should be exacted for this long series of wrongs which you have done. I therefore order you to appear in Rome, so that you may submit yourself to the overlords and suffer the penalty of whatever sentence they may pass. And I appoint the middle of next August as the time for your coming. If you fail to arrive, I shall invade your territory myself and do my best to restore to the Roman state all that you have taken from it by your insane behavior. Too long didn't read. Rome is basically outraged that Arthur is the better tyrant, and that he isn't just handing out what he steals from other countries to Rome. I mean, sure, Rome invaded Britain in the 1st century, completely changed their culture and infrastructure, and then bounced as soon as it was inconvenient for them to stay any longer, thus weakening the entire country and leaving it vulnerable to invaders, which, as the story goes, Arthur saved the entire country from and then built it back up to its current glorificus state, but you still have to pay homage to Rome because just because! Give Rome all the things! So, after this letter is read in front of the many kings and leaders, Arthur takes everybody up a gigantic tower for a powwow. En route, 𝗕𝗿 of Cornwall had this to say.
"Until now," he said to the king, "I have been afraid that the life of ease which the Britons have been leading might make cowards of them, and soften them up during this long spell of peace. Their reputation for bravery on the battlefield, for which they are more famous than any other people, might well have been completely lost to them. Indeed, when it is obvious that men are no longer using their weapons, but are instead playing at dice, burning up their strength with women, and indulging in other gratifications of that sort, then without any doubt their bravery, honor, courage, and good name all become tainted with cowardice. For the past 5 years, or thereabouts, we have thought of nothing but these follies. Oh no. And we have had no battle experience. It is precisely to free us from this sloth that God has stirred up the resentment of the Romans, so that they may restore our courage to what it used to be in the old days." Yeah, that's gotta be it.
Remember, kids, play fighting and enjoying life is folly. It's only when you're killing dudes and pillaging and raping that you're doing God's will. After 𝗕𝗿's toxic ramble, Arthur and the leaders take their seats, and Arthur follows up with his own little speech.
"You who have been my companions, in good times and in bad, you of whose fortitude both in giving advice and in waging war I have had ample proof in the past, give me now your closest attention, every one of you, and in your wisdom tell me what you consider we should do on receiving such a letter as this. Anything which has been planned with great care by man in his wisdom is realized the more easily when the time for action arrives. It follows that we shall be able to bear this attack of Lucius with great equanimity if we have first of all worked out with one accord how we are best to resist him. For myself, I do not consider that we ought to fear his coming very much, seeing with what a trumped-up case he is demanding the tribute which he wants to exact from Britain. He says that he ought to be given it because it used to be paid to Julius Caesar and those who succeeded him. When these men landed with their armed band and conquered our fatherland by force and violence at a time when it was weakened by civil dissensions, they had been encouraged to come here by the disunity of our ancestors. Seeing that they seized the country in this way, it was wrong of them to exact tribute from it. Nothing that is acquired by force and violence can ever be held legally by anyone."
Hey King, you know how you, ransacked Europe and then, took all the things and then made it legal by holding a plenary court that basically said, this is legal, if you don't agree with me, then fuck you? Do you remember that? You did that. That very same thing. You did that. You know what? Rome sucks, so whatever. And that's basically what all the knights and kings say here. Then Hole gives his 10 cents with the funny excerpt of, Whoever tries to steal from another the things which are that other's may justly lose to the other whom he is attacking the things which belong to him personally. Yeah, that's a good lesson. Wish we could learn it. Then King 𝗥cie⁺ jumps in with a long passage about how he's looking forward to killing dudes. like you do. Hold on, let me get into character so I can do a proper line read.
I am overwhelmed with joy and only too eager for the day on which we shall come together. I thirst for their blood, as I would thirst for a spring if I had been prevented from drinking for 3 whole days. If only I may live to see that day. How sweet will be the wounds which I shall give and receive. Once we come together hand to hand, death itself will be sweet, if only I may suffer it in avenging our ancestors, safeguarding our liberty, and exalting our king. Let us attack those emasculated creatures. Let us attack again and again, so that when we have crushed them, we may seize all their possessions and rejoice in our victory. Man, it's a really good thing that we have MOBAs and online gaming in general nowadays. Humans are scary.
Sorry about that. So, after those riveting speeches of bloodlust and hypocrisy, the rest of the running crew promise Arthur that they'll dole out as many soldiers, horses, and killing implements as he could ever want, purportedly totaling 183,300 troops, not even including the foot soldiers. Arthur sent his bros to gather the cannon fodder, and told them to rendezvous at 𝗤𝗏 so that they could march to Allobrogs, where they would engage the Romans. On that note, he also had a messenger make ready to deliver his thoughts to the Romans. And I'm tired of reading this shit, so he basically just says, "Lol, come at me, bro." With a message like that, you can pretty much guess what's going to go down. So tune in next time for the beginning of King Arthur's Roman campaign of bloodlust and lulz. Bye-bye!